Print will show you in the next few minutes how you can understand and choose the best paper for your literature. If you're wondering where to start, you've come to the right place. We can give you the information you need right here. Alan Bunter explains in more detail.
There are two main categories of paper, coated and uncoated. Firstly, I'll talk to you about coated papers, and within coated papers you've got gloss, silk and matte. Glossy papers are generally used for magazines because they give a very good lift of the colours on the sheet. So the ink sits on the paper and dries onto it, and so photos and that sort of thing reproduce very, very well. But it is very shiny and reflects the light. Then you have silk paper in the middle, which is halfway between matte and gloss. Silk paper is very much in vogue at the moment because it holds the colour well and gives a good finish, but it does still need to have a seal over the top so that the ink doesn't rub when the pages rub together. So you put a silk seal over the top, and it's a very popular sheet. Alternatively, you have matte, which is a very rough finish and a flat surface and really doesn't reflect the light. This too can need a sealer on it to seal it in, but does tend to make it look a little bit shiny. But it is very important that you select the right paper for your job. Now, these three papers are very popular and they're available in all the different sizes and weights. Another thing to mention is there's also satin. Now, satin paper is actually exactly the same as silk, and people will tell you that it's not, but it is. As a supplier, we can buy the same paper from two different paper merchants. One's called satin, one's called silk, but it is the same sheet. So that's a little tip you need to bear in mind. The other type of paper is obviously uncoated, and this is what you would use in your laser printer or for writing paper. And this is an open sheet. So when the ink sits onto the paper, it actually soaks down into the surface. So you certainly don't get any reflection or any light bouncing off of it. The ink can tend to stay wet for quite a long time, which is something to bear in mind when you're looking at time scales. But you can write on it if you're going to use it for postcards or business cards or something like that.
Coated papers are made by adding an additional surface to the paper, using clay and other constituents to give a very smooth finish. This can be glossy or silky, similar to the paints you would use to decorate your home. Uncoated papers are the more traditional feel. A good example is writing paper. The paper is open so ink is absorbed into the surface. There are also special grades specifically for laser printing.
So that's a brief overview of the various different types of paper. We've got some swatches I can show you. But the key thing to bear in mind is what you want to use it for when you start off on your project, and decide the right paper for you. And we can supply samples on request.